Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about building your financial foundation, but maybe in a way you haven't thought about before. We're going to strip away all the complicated jargon and focus on a new, really clear way to think about money. It's actually a lot simpler than it seems, and it all starts with just a small shift in how you see things. You know that feeling, right? You work so hard, maybe you get a raise or a better job, but somehow your bills and expenses seem to grow right along with your paycheck. And at the end of the month, you feel like you're pretty much right back where you started. If that sounds familiar at all, you are definitely not alone. It's a really common cycle, but the good news is it's a cycle you can absolutely break. So here's our little roadmap for today. First, we'll take a closer look at that financial hamster wheel. Then we're going to completely rethink what wealth really means. After that, I'll introduce you to something I call your 2 money buckets. It's super simple. Then we'll explore how to make your money start working for you, and we'll finish up with your very first actionable step. All right, let's dive into part 1, the financial hamster wheel. We're talking about that feeling of being stuck, you know? It's a pattern that so many of us fall into, sometimes without even realizing it's happening. So here's how that cycle usually plays out. You get a promotion, your income goes up. That's fantastic, right? But then, almost without thinking, our spending tends to rise to meet that new income. Maybe it's a nicer car, a bigger apartment, a few more subscriptions. We call this lifestyle inflation. So even though more money is coming in, you haven't actually made any real financial progress. You're just running faster in the same speed. To get off that wheel, we first have to totally rethink our definition of wealth. We're often taught that the goal is just to get a high-paying job. But honestly, that's only half the story. Real financial progress comes from looking at things from a completely different angle. This idea really gets to the heart of it. Wealth isn't just about a big number on your paycheck. It's about turning what you earn into an engine that can power your future. So the real question isn't just how much did I make, but what is my money doing for me? Is it just paying for things I already bought, or is it actively building my future? Now, this might sound a little strange, but getting more money isn't always the solution. In fact, if you don't have a solid understanding of how money works, a sudden windfall, like a bonus or an inheritance, can just pour gasoline on poor financial habits. It can often lead to bigger debts and even more stress, not less. Okay, now for what I think is the most powerful and simple concept we'll talk about today. Let's just forget about complicated spreadsheets and budgets for a minute. To understand how to build wealth, all you really need to know is the difference between 2 simple money buckets. We'll call them assets and liabilities. So the first bucket is for your assets. An asset is, quite simply, anything that puts money into your pocket. Think of it as something that works for you, generating a stream of cash that flows towards you maybe every month or every quarter. And the second bucket, well, that's for your liabilities. A liability is the exact opposite. It's anything that takes money out of your pocket. It creates ongoing expenses that you constantly have to pay for, sending cash flowing away from you. Let's just put them side by side to make it crystal clear. On the left, you have assets. These are like little money-making machines working for you 24/7. And on the right, you have liabilities, which are constantly draining your resources. The entire goal is so simple. Just build up the left side so it becomes much bigger than the right side. This slide is a great way to visualize what's happening. That top line shows the typical flow for most people. A paycheck comes in and it immediately flows right back out to pay for all the liabilities. That's the hamster wheel. The goal is what you see on the bottom line, to build a second stream where your assets are generating their own income, creating a brand new flow of money in. Okay, let's make this a bit more personal. I want you to just take a second and think about the last big thing you bought. It could be a new phone, a couch, maybe even a car. Now, using our simple definitions, was it an asset or a liability? Did it put money into your pockets, or is it taking money out every month? There's no judgment here at all. It's just about building awareness. This brings us perfectly to our next section, making money work for you. Because if the goal is to get more assets that generate income, we first need to understand the different ways that income can be earned. This is where you really shift from just being a passenger in your financial life to being the architect. This breaks down the 4 main ways people earn their living. On the left, you see E for employee and S for self-employed or small business. And on the right, you have B for big business owner and I for investor. The really critical difference lies in what's happening on each side of that dividing line. See, on the left side, you're earning what we call active income. You are trading your time for money. If you stop working, the money stops coming in. But on the right side, that's passive income. Here, you own a system, either a business or investments, that generates money for you, whether you're physically working or not. The path to real financial freedom is all about building income streams on that right side. And here we are at our final section, your first step. Look, learning all this is great, but knowledge is pretty useless if you don't take action. So how do you take these ideas and start using them in your life, like today? Well, it's actually much simpler than you might think. It really just boils down to these three things. First, just shift your mindset. Every time you're about to spend money, ask yourself that simple question. Is this buying me an asset or is it buying me a liability? Second, know your buckets. Seriously, just take out a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, and list out all your assets on one side and all your liabilities on the other. Get a clear snapshot of where you are right now. And third, and this is the big one, commit to your own financial education. It is the single most powerful asset you will ever build. Let's just look at how this can play out in the real world. Imagine two friends, both starting a new job, both earning the exact same salary. Friend A celebrates by getting a brand new car on credit, which immediately adds a new liability and a monthly payment to their plate. Friend B, instead, takes a portion of their money and buys a simple asset, like an index fund. Now, friend A's money is flowing out every month, while friend B's money is now in a position to start working for them. It's these small, early choices that can lead to completely different financial futures. And that really brings us to the final and I think most important question of all. It's not about what you've done in the past. That's over. It's about the very next choice you make. With your next dollar, will you use it to buy a liability, or will you use it to start building an asset? The choice and your financial future is truly in your hands.